Samantha Parker Show. Hey, I'm your host, Samantha. Let's dive on in. Hey guys, welcome back to the Samantha Parker Show. This is a fun virtual episode. I go back and forth, and we were just talking about this. Do we record virtual, in person, but we're going to record virtual as our warm-up, and then we will meet in person and we'll record again.
Yes, can't wait.
Yes, but okay, girl, welcome to the show. I've got Haley, oh my gosh, I've got Haley on. And I think you're such a badass. I know, I was like, I've already messed up the whole podcast, but we'll just leave it in.
You're great. I love it.
I know. I've had a podcast for years. So I've been in business for myself for over 10 years. And I just have had a different variation of the podcast. And one of my biggest things is I would like mess up people's names. This is 8 years ago. And I still like to this day, I'll be like, no, I know you in person. I've met you in person. I've been to events. And I'm like, let me fudge this right out of the gate.
Fine. We're all human around here, so it'll be just fine.
Yes. Okay, but welcome to the podcast. I just saw you in Arizona. Yeah. And I want you to do a little intro of yourself because I love what you do. I have one written out here, but I just feel like people explain it so much better.
Yeah.
Because really, like, you're an entrepreneur, a community builder, and the creative force behind the table. And I've wanted to go to a table event forever, and I finally got to go to one, so that was so fun. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I know it's such a full circle moment. I feel like I've lived 11 lives, which sometimes when I talk about different seasons of my life, I forget that there's people that are in my life now that never knew me then. And so they're like, wait, I'm so confused. I'm like, yes, there was a whole nother era previously. I actually spent about 20 years in corporate healthcare administration before becoming an entrepreneur. That is a whole story in itself, but long story long, I was laid off from my job. Sounds very dramatic because people lose their jobs every day, but my world was literally rocked. Like, firstborn daughter, self-proclaimed high achieving woman. Like, I had never been written up, let alone laid off from a job, and I didn't know what to do with myself. So as all ambitious females did, I said, they're not going to knock me down. And I got a new job a couple of weeks later, and about 6 months after, the same thing happened again. And it was a very pivotal moment in my life where I was like, what is the lesson here? What is the world trying to tell me? And that is when my entrepreneurship journey started. My businesses now, I own 2 different companies. One is The Table. So the ethos of The Table brand is that we can grow faster and more sustainably when we're in the energy and environment of the right people. And so through that brand, I have a podcast. I do consulting with scaling CEOs with small teams. We looked at effective leadership strategies, high-performing teams, and community-based brands. I host a bunch of events, which it was so great to have you at just a week ago or so here in Arizona. And then I'm also the co-founder of a membership-based community for female founders called Collab Culture. So we founded that one about 4 years ago with a business partner, one of my very best friends. So essentially, I tell people that now I'm in the business of people because everything I do is around people, leadership, events, bringing cool people together in cool ways. So it's super fun.
Yes. See, I knew you'd explain it so well because I'm like, I follow you and I'm like, she just says these really cool things.
So many cool things. I'm honestly, I look back, I'm like, oh, this is my life now. It's so weird. It's so different from the navy blue suits and this corporate executive era in my former healthcare life. So it's definitely a full 180 for sure.
Oh, absolutely. But I know you're doing these really cool things. So a lot of times I'm just seeing like the social media highlight reel. And then like I showed up to the event, which by the way, I thought I was going to combust and burn up at that event. I could not believe how warm it was.
It was like so warm. I know.
Yeah, it felt like a gift though, because we're going into winter and it was like nice and sunny, but it was so funny. So I've been excited to go to your event, and then we were going to Mental Health Live the next day. And I signed up and I didn't realize like we would be working out until the night before when you sent out that email. And I was like, we're in the car and I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, to my husband, I'm like, this is like a full workout tomorrow. And you weren't mentally prepared for that, were you? And I was like, no, I don't know what I'm going to wear. And then I was like, it's fine. I got a cute set.
It's perfect. That's all you need.
Yeah. But then we had the black yoga mats and I couldn't lay on it. I just ended up having to move it to the side because I was like, this is wildly hot.
Yeah, it was freakishly hot. It's not normally that hot this time of year here in Arizona. By November, usually it's cooled off. Like all this week, it's like rainy, and I think the high
Yeah.
is like 63. So I don't know
Oh,
what freakish
it's
what
so rainy
happened.
here. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it was kind of like the last little bit of summer, even though it's fall. I was like soaking it in. But when you live in the desert, you get like an extended summer.
Yeah, 100%.
But those events, though, while I'm saying it looks so cool and she does such super cool shit online, they're a lot of
Mhm.
work. Like
There's
so
so
much
much work.
to get the
There's
people there, to get the vendors on board. Like you're putting in the work.
Yeah, it's been a learning process for sure. We host a lot of events through the membership as well, but that's more of a rinse and repeat model. So through that, they have a weekly offering, half 2 weeks are in person, 2 weeks are online, but like it's the same format, if you will, every single month versus the table is co-ed. And one thing I really wanted to showcase people is you can grow your business and you can make meaningful connections literally doing anything. You could be laying on a yoga mat in the sunshine. You can be diving into a full content day. You can be having it over cocktails and appetizers. Like there's literally no limits on what that can look like. And I think that's very freeing when people realize that it doesn't have to feel stiff or overwhelming or gross, that you can truly choose your own adventure and figure out what that is. So, with that being said, the table formats, there's a couple that stay every year, like the wellness one. There's a couple of them that are like kind of cornerstone formats, but a lot of them change. And that brings a whole different dynamic of market research and sourcing and programming and making sure I'm vetting facilitators or anybody who's coming in to really pour into my people, because my entire brand is built in trust, and anybody that I put on my stage or pseudo stage to be able to pour into my people, I'm very protective of ensuring that there's somebody that I would put my name behind. So yes, it is a lot of work, but there's something like so special about in person. Like it's just truly unmatched in my opinion.
Oh no, I agree. Social media is great. Obviously, that's how I make my living. We eat, breathe, sleep
Mm-hmm.
content, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have to go show up places.
Yeah.
And when people come to me and they're like, "Hey, this post," and I'm like, "What else are you doing?" I assume you've got like a whole marketing, and we talk about it too because I'm a business owner and I'm like, "Hey, I want to make sure this is in line with everything." But when they put all their eggs in one post basket, I'm like, "That's wild. That's wild thinking."
Yeah, I think it's very much like a both and, because a lot of times when I get people who come to my events like you from out of town, who maybe I've never met in real life, but we've started to cultivate that friendship and relationship through the internet. One of the biggest compliments I feel like I get from people when they meet me for the first time is, "Oh, you're like exactly the same." Like exactly how you show up online is exactly who you are in person. So I feel like the internet is such a gift that gives us a way to collapse time if we use it the right way, right? To be
Yeah.
able to connect with people through those channels and for free, arguably, right? Like we can show up on the internet whenever we want and share whatever we want if we're willing to put in the work to do that.
Yes. And if we had just met in person one time, I probably wouldn't remember you. If I
Mhm.
wasn't seeing snippets of you here and there online, it's an extension. I'm like, oh, I was super pumped when you cut a bob. I was
So
like, I'm
committed. Yeah, the haircut journey was such a commitment. I was laughing to my husband because I originally, so for context, if you're listening, I just chopped 10 inches off of my hair like 3 weeks ago. And over the summer, I posted on socials these like inspo cuts off of Pinterest that I had found. And I just posted in stories and I was like, what do we think? And one of my girlfriends from my book club transposed my face from other brand photos onto the haircuts, and I put them on stories and was like, I need you guys to vote. I have never had so much engagement in the
yes,
last at least year as I did on those stories. I had on the polls alone 350 people vote on these polls, and I don't have a massive account. And so that was like a huge following. And then people were asking for the months to come. And I was like, quite frankly, I'm just scared. Like I can't follow through with it. And then I just like out of nowhere a couple of weeks ago show up like with stories in the hair chair. Did she do it? Did she not do it? And People were very invested. So you never know. You never know what's going to pop off over there.
It's just fun. It was just fun to see. I love my bob, so I was like, oh, she did it. I just got super excited. I don't know if I'll be able to go back. I've had this for 2 years and it's me. I get my hair cut every 6 weeks and I'm like, Bob's on point.
Yeah, it's definitely been a shift and an adjustment, but I have to say I am like so grateful because it's been so fun so far.
Yeah. Was all of the hair that you cut off, was it yours? Did you have extensions?
No, it was all mine. I've
Oh,
literally never had short hair in my life. Like I've always had long hair. So it's interesting because even on the polls, I want to say it was probably like 85% of people were pro chop, but the people who were no chop were so passionate. Like
oh yeah, they're like, don't do it.
they had prepared a full legal argument as to why I should not chop all my hair off. But I think it's because it's familiar and it's what we know. And it was beautiful, right? And long and thick and all of these things. But sometimes disrupting the norm is a good thing and just making some change.
Yes. Okay, so before we hit record, because I was like, hold on, hold this for the podcast. You're prepping to run a rock and roll half marathon.
Yes. I am.
Are you excited?
So this was another thing that it's so funny because I'm like, oh, these are all my social media randoms. So over this summer, it was like in July, around the time of this haircut debacle, one of my girlfriends last year, she had given birth to twins and then she had unexpected open heart surgery about 3 months later. She's
Oh my
30,
gosh.
yeah, 37 years old. So the very short version is she had this underlying heart issue. She had a hole in her heart that she apparently has had like her entire life, never knew about it. And being pregnant with the twins because of the increased blood flow exposed this issue that could have underlined been like a silent killer, to be perfectly honest. So the twins literally saved her life. So, anyways, she has open heart surgery this past December of 2024. And over the summer, she posts something about contemplating doing this rock and roll marathon in January. And I reply to the story and I'm like, clap emoji, like, you got this, girl, being supportive. And she's, oh my gosh, you should do it with me. And I was like, audibly laughed out loud because I mean, I'm an active person. I love fitness. I love working out. I used to be a CrossFit instructor, but I was like, I don't even want to run to the mailbox, to be perfectly honest. So I created a reel for social while I was out for a walk with my weighted vest, because that's what we all got into
Uh-huh.
this year.
Yeah.
And I was out for a walk in July in Arizona. And I was like, am I crazy? Because this is the story. And I tell it. And I was like, so I laughed and thought she was crazy. And simultaneously, within the next 30 minutes, was on ChatGPT asking it if it could build me a training plan to see if this was actually possible or not. Yes, to answer your question, I am training. I am feeling a little underprepared, but it's going to be fine. Just like the Bob, right? It's like sometimes we just take the chances. So yes, January 18th here in Tempe is our rock and roll marathon. And then you said yours is in February.
Yes, I'm doing it in Vegas. And I did it last year, but I only did the 10K last year. So it was like
Okay.
the very, yeah.
Yeah, and you're upgrading to a half.
Yeah, because it's peer pressure.
I know.
People are
I know.
like, you keep running these 10Ks, and I'm like, okay. But
Okay.
like 6.5 or 6.2, whatever it is, it's far.
Yeah, yeah. No, I know. I even when I went to build my training plan in Runna, I was like, oh, half marathon training plan. And I went through the prompts and it was like, can you run a 5K? And I was like, no. Like when I started this, and it was like, please go back and revise your goals to not do a half marathon plan first and do a 5K plan first. And I was like, oh, I'm humbled instantly. But it was actually really great for me because the interval training I feel was helpful to like just help me with like my breath
Yeah,
control.
no, I use Runna. It's great. And if you have to
Mm-hmm.
do some treadmill runs to get that really, because you can speed it up, slow it down, and put the things up and down the treadmill. The
Yeah,
incline, I'm all the things.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, Runna is great. I think it's a great training plan, and I'm using it again for the half.
Yeah, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm not going to say I'm trying to win any medals over here in January,
Oh,
but
you will. Everyone gets a medal.
no, a finish would be great. That's
Yeah.
my goal.
So what's the furthest you've ever run?
Literally, I think I ran a 5K, like a turkey trot 5K. I don't even know how long, probably before I had kids. And my oldest daughter is 12 and a half. So
Okay.
before then,
I think
yeah.
really what helps is just to get your cardio endurance up and then get your
Mhm.
body used to like hitting the pavement.
Yeah, I started training in July in Phoenix, which, if you're unfamiliar, it is literally the surface of the sun here at that time. And I was running outside. Now, I was
Yeah.
running at night, like 8 or 9 p.m., but everybody thought I was crazy. But my mindset was like, we can only go up from here. Like, this is like baptism by fire. I'm just going to be in the worst conditions to start. And then as the weather cools down and my endurance gets better, like I'm going to be literally running on clouds, living my best life. So it's been a journey, but I think as long as I can control my breath, I feel like I'll be fine. I think when I start to get tired and I get like panicky, then my breath control starts to wane. And then that is where it starts to get a little sketchy, but it's going to be great.
Last night while I was folding laundry, I was looking up like videos about mindset for running. I haven't found anything helpful because that's part
Right.
of it. I'm like, oh, I call them my little walkie walks. I'm like, it's time for a walkie walk. But I'm like, I gotta stop doing that because I can go pretty far. But yeah, the furthest I've ever ran is 7.5 miles, and that was sometime last year when I was
Yeah.
training pretty hard. I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. I know I can do it, but
I
yeah,
ran in this training program, I've ran like simultaneously, if you will, like just shy of 5 has been my longest run like now. So I'm like,
yeah.
okay, great. You're not even halfway there. It's fine.
You don't need to run. It's not like you're going to go out and run a half marathon. You just have to do those longer training runs. And I haven't been running as much. And when I ran the 10K last Saturday, I could tell my endurance wasn't as high as it has been in the past. And you know what's so funny is we're right. If you come down Snow Canyon, it's beautiful here. And I don't know if you went there when you came here, but it's I like it more than Zion. So you run Snow Canyon, you come down, you're coming down the parkway, and then you just have to run into Snow Canyon High School. I started crying in front of the high school and I had point 0.1 left. And I don't know, I was like, it's too far. I can't do it. And I run with my friend Cody and he turns because he's noticing he's like pulling ahead of me. He turns back and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? You just
You're
gotta
crying.
you just gotta run through the chute.
That's so funny. The finish here at the Tempe one is like over the bridge at Tempe Town Lake. So it's like a very like picturesque, like I was telling my friend, I'm like, I'm probably gonna be like in my full-blown luteal phase. I'm gonna be an emotional wreck and I'm gonna be running over this bridge and it's gonna feel like it's out of a movie because it's like the home stretch. I'm just gonna be sobbing like Kim Kardashian, hideous cry face on this like last stretch with all the photographers.
Oh my gosh, I should just for fun right now. I'm gonna text you because I just pulled up the race photos today and I sent it to one of my friends and I was like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? I'm just gonna text it to you right now. I'm like, what? And you know what's so funny is I crossed the finish line of the 10K at the same time the first woman did for the half marathon. And I was like, please,
Fine.
at least I
And
made it.
then at least you were crossing the finish line with somebody else. You weren't by yourself.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like it's a win. I honestly have been seeing some friends who ran like the New York City half marathon, or I'm sorry, the New York City marathon. And their times were like literally my half marathon goal
Oh,
times.
yeah, for sure. Rock and roll, I think it has a cutoff of 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
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 That's my goal time.
Yeah. It's going to be great. When I filled out the paperwork, I think I put 3 hours and 15 minutes.
3:29 for
Yeah. So we're
sure.
going to
For
get a little
sure.
push in just in case.
The rock and roll races are so fun though. I ran the 10K last year and it was for my 40th birthday, so that was super fun.
I love
Which is great because this is how I guilt people into running this race with me is I'm like, it's my birthday trip. Like, well, I'll go down for my birthday. I'm doing it again this year and I've got my friends guilted into it.
so fun. I
Yeah.
love that. It's going to
But
be
it was
great.
so fun. And Vegas was really cool too because it's weird to be on the strip and it was like quiet because
Yeah.
there's no traffic. And I remember coming back through and I was like, oh my God, it's quiet. But people are yelling. But for the strip, it was eerie, but it was really cool.
That's so funny. Feels like you're in another dimension.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna be excited for you. Are you running with water or no water? These are the
I
things I think about.
I literally have to have water. I ran the other day, I did a 3 mile run and I was like, oh, it'll be nice. It was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, but it was like maybe 80, 78 degrees, which for here is like cool, like, right, like
It's still
nice.
warm though.
And I was like, oh, I'll be fine. I'm just not going to bring water. And I was like, not even a mile in. And my sister and I live in the same neighborhood. So she was pulling out to take her kids to jujitsu and they saw me running and I like stopped for a second. And my niece and nephew were like, Auntie, your face is so red.
I know my son, he's 14, so he likes to humble me. He's like, you look like a tomato. I was like,
Yeah.
shut up.
Yeah, yeah. So I need to get, I think maybe one of the vest kind situations. Like I have the belt, which I thought about trying to, like, my phone and stuff can go in. And I thought about trying to get the little ones that come just like latch onto the belts. But I don't know if that's gonna feel too bouncy. So I probably need to try that soon. Maybe Black Friday. I'll keep an eye
Yeah.
out to
My
see if I
friend
can
who
get
runs with me got the belt and he's ditched it. And I have the backpack for long runs. Like I definitely run with my backpack for long runs around here because we're super dry. I'm in the desert too. It's dry as hell here. But he switched to a hand one, and I think I might either do that or I'm going to do the vest with just like the water
Yeah,
right.
that's what my friends have. They have the vest and it has the two like front lapel little guys that fit in there.
Plus,
Uh,
I like to have my items, so you know
she
all
says,
the
I
things
need
I
my
might need.
accessories. You never know.
Okay, this is one thing that I fell in love with those. I carry those throat coats.
Oh,
And
that's a good idea.
yeah, I pop like a berry one and it helps a ton when your throat gets really sore.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I need all the tips because I have literally no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I was
throat
like,
coats, fruit snacks are good. Rice Krispies are really good too.
yeah, nerd clusters have been my little a handful before I go out for what for me is a longer run. And that seems to be just enough of a zinger to pick me up
Yeah,
for
I just
sure.
had this last one. I just had like a couple fruit snacks and I was like, that was lovely.
Nice little treat.
It's the little things in life.
Yeah.
Okay, but back to you and what you do and all the amazing stuff. I was like, look, another runner friend. We can be shitty runners
We can
together.
be shitty runners. Yeah, we're just like decent. I'm just trying to be decent.
I picked up running at 39. What was I thinking?
That's me. I literally turned 40 in April and then this happened in June or July. So I'm
Yeah,
like, now is when I chose. No time like the present.
why not? I think it's cool for our kids to see us doing crazy things too.
That is true. Yeah, yeah. My girls are like, they're impressed, but also alarmed at the same time. When I come home and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, I will be. Just give me a minute.
Yeah, my son was impressed at first, and now he like I think it's really hard for the families because they have to go wait for hours,
Yeah.
especially in Vegas. I know my whole family came. It was really cute. Like my
Yeah.
mom, my sister, and everyone. But
Hmm.
they're like, we were just there forever, and then we had to cross the strip, and then we had to come back over the strip, and like they
Yeah.
put in the work too.
Yeah. That is true. The real MVPs.
But not really.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so you have a big event coming up in February. It's the same weekend as Vegas, or else I would totally be there
Hmm.
because I was gonna go. But are you excited?
I'm so excited. It's my only like multi-day event that I do in the course of the year. So the table experience is what it's called. We also do like a pop-up series, which is like what you came to, Healthy and Wealthy. We do pop-up events. They're about monthly, like a monthly cadence. And they, like I said before, they kind of change in format. So I had one the month before that was our Legacy Builders dinner, which is like a more intimate dinner party experience for like growth minded couples. Every iteration of the pop up series is different. And then the table experience is a 2 day live event. So I hosted it for the first time in 2025. 2026 will be our next year. I learned many, many lessons the first time. You think hosting events, like small events, is a lot of work. Hosting a multi day event with full programming, and there's so many layers that come into the mix. I think I gave myself more credit than I should have on what I was capable of doing on my own. So I was humbled in many ways this year, but not so much that I neglected to choose to do it again.
Of
So
course.
we learned our lessons and we are back. But yeah, I'm super excited. I am not a big rah events person. I don't mind it, but events that are exclusively more in like the mindset, the motivation space for extended periods of time are really hard for me to stay engaged with. Maybe it's my undiagnosed ADHD. Maybe it's, who knows?
No, I know
Maybe.
what you're talking about. You're like, I've moved past this. You've already made up you're doing the damn
Yeah.
thing. You know?
Yeah. And listen, I need to be cheered on in some points in time. I
Yeah.
need to be motivated sometimes too. But when I'm going to events, I'm really looking for what is my return on investment as far as, is it education? Is it connections? Is it just like having meaningful conversations, learning something new? What does that look like? So the way this event was built was basically like mad scientist taking all of the things that I like and mashing it into one. So it is co-ed, although still majority female. We're like on the slow roll with the men at events because I feel like I am very, very consistent and particular with my messaging on who this stuff is for, which calls in a certain type of man, which I am perfectly fine with that being a slow roll rather than just being like, hey, anybody who fits this demographic, come hang out. And so, yeah, this past year was our first year. It was so great. It's a mix of really tactical, strategic kind of workshop style sessions, panels. We have these intimate roundtable experiences that our mutual friend Jess was one of our facilitators this year. So she did a roundtable on podcasting. And it's really cool because if you're an attendee, you get this menu. So the event's in February, you get this menu in January. And it's, hey, here's a list of topics, rank them most applicable to least applicable to you right now. Like in this
That's
season of life and
genius.
business. Yeah. Like where are you at? And then we take it and we basically book you into seats at these expert roundtables. And you actually get to ask the questions on topics that you need instead of trying to make something relevant, like square peg, round hole theory. Instead, it's, hey, I really want to launch a podcast, or I'm really having a hard time getting traction on my podcast, or I want to start leveraging podcast guesting as a visibility tool in my business, whatever. If that's you, then you're like, hell yeah, I want to put it at the top. Or if you're like, maybe there's something that's on there that's around finance or data tracking and analytics or legal or whatever. So you rank them. So that's like a big key component of our programming, is that attendees get to book into 4 of these roundtables. So over the course of the full event, they have 4 different topics that they'll learn on. And it's like me, you, and 4 other people at this table with this expert. And we have 45 minutes in this small group to literally just ask them whatever we want. There's no teaching, there's no slide deck, there's no whatever. It's like, you know, the topics that you're getting access to, ask the questions that are going to move the needle and get what you need. And it's like a no gatekeeping. People are very like open and giving with information, and it's so great. So yeah, that's like the framework of how the event goes. We have a VIP night after day 1, which is super fun and just a more intimate experience. But between that and then really carving out intentional time for people to connect in a meaningful way, rather than being like, hey, we're going to take a 1-hour break. We're like, hey, for the next hour or 45 minutes or whatever, this is a guided activity on how to make meaningful connections and conversations in this room. We're going to explain why and how, and then we're going to get your ass out of your seat and you're going to do it right now. Like everybody's going to get up, and that helps too with just like keeping the energy in the room, because people have those breaks throughout the day where they know they're going to be getting up and moving around and talking. And so that helps keep people engaged for the full event.
Dude, I love that. That's awesome. Do you guys also do you feed people at your events? And
yes, there is nothing worse than being hangry at an event.
no, I was like, I don't know why I even brought that up, but we just did content. We do content on site for a lot of our clients and events and things. So we were just at a 4-day women's conference and they had the best food.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I did go to an event recently in Phoenix this summer and the food was awful.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And I think the hard thing is, depending on where you're having it, right? If you're at a hotel or at a resort or whatever, a lot of times you're at the mercy of the venue, right? Like you have to use their catering, and it's usually not great. Or if it is great, it's a bajillion dollars to pay for these meals. And so I think that's challenging. The venue that we're doing ours at this year and was the same venue for 2020 or for next year and this year, I can bring in all my own stuff, which is great. And so that's helpful. And we are a strong believer in open access to snacks. I am not a toddler. I don't need you to tell me I have to wait till 3 p.m. to have a snack. I just need to eat it when I need to have a snack. And so that was one thing we did that people were so appreciative of is we had a table out and we had good quality snacks, drinks. I'm a big bevy girly. We're all about the fun drinks. So we just had it out and it was like, you're a grown up. If you need a snack, just get up and get a snack.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
I thought they did a really great job with the food as well at Minted Wealth Live.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But, and I'm sure Barb would say that if she was here, the food and beverage minimum was probably astronomical.
Oh, so, I can't even imagine, especially when they brought out like was it the dessert? Like they did that dessert round and it was like macaroons and all of that. I was like, huh.
Yeah. So it's like, it's easy to spend that. I shouldn't say easy, but like when you have to hit a minimum that's so high for a 220 person event at Global Ambassador, which if you're not familiar is like a very bougie Michelin rated hotel here in Phoenix, that it's easy to have bougie food because you don't have a choice because you have to hit like those minimums are so high versus a lot of times what you find in these resorts for conferences is you get that standard box lunch, the dry ass sandwich.
That's the box lunch I'm mentioning that I was like, this is trash. Mine didn't even have like protein in it.
You're like, I would prefer to actually DoorDash myself something to eat. But yeah, I think that those are the little things. And it's not silly that you brought it up because this is literally something as an avid event attendee and like event researcher, I literally keep notes. I have a database that I keep like notes on so that I can make executive decisions from a place that is from facts and not like vibes, because I think it's easy to say yes at a FOMO, where I can go back and go into my little thing and I'm like, your tax coach, Minted Wealth Live, right? Minted Wealth Live 2025. And I can drill into that level and I have so many notes and food is on there. Because
I bet you do.
I do think it's important to know just so you can plan, because if you went to an event and you're like, the event was great, but the food was shit, maybe you want to go back, but next time you're going to pre-plan to schedule a DoorDash pickup or make plans to go to lunch instead, because you already know that going in instead of being disappointed, expecting something else.
The other thing I love about going to events too, obviously, this is all outside of the stuff you learn, the people you meet. This is just like the random shiz. I love that you can bring out like your extra business outfits, like the ones that are like fun and stupid and bougie, like the ones that I'm in my office today. I could wear them here. You bring out that like extra fun.
It's super fun. And I was telling someone the other day, I started working with this stylist team. Their company's name is called Shine Image Consulting. And I started working with them about a year and a half ago, originally just for a retreat that we were doing for our Collab culture community. We had a package that we did with them. And so it was like a color and shape analysis, and then more of a like very finite, it was for branding videos. So they basically gave us like lookbooks for these videos. Once I started working with them, I'm like, okay, this is really fascinating. And it makes me not feel the stress of having to be like so overwhelmed by figuring out what to wear. So a really cool thing I started doing with them is this like quarterly conference planning. So for Minted and for a couple other events, I did a keynote in Vegas. I went to an event in Dallas and I went to Canada.
Oh, your keynote in Vegas, you had that really cool, I tried to get it. It was sold out. What was that suit?
Floral suit from Nordstrom. Yeah, it was
Steve Madden. Yeah, they didn't have any more when you sent me the link. I was like, send the outfit link.
Yes, maybe it'll come back in stock, but that was from them. And the cool thing is what I do, because I do go to so many events and I host so many, I sent them an email and I was like, okay, here is all of my either speaking engagements, attendee stuff, whatever. Here's where I'm going. Here's when. So they know like for weather and stuff. And then I'm like, here's a sales page, or here's their socials so they can like peep the vibe. And then obviously they know my color palette, things I like, things I don't like. And yes, it's a financial investment, but I'm sorry, my time and mental well-being are worth far more And I show up, they source everything. I show up, I try stuff on for a couple of hours, and then we pick our favorites and I keep them and they send everything else back. And I take my bags and I go home and I have a quarter's worth of event attire. So I actually am meeting with them, I think like the first or second week of January, and I'm traveling for some stuff for January for conferences, and then obviously mine in February. So we'll do that Q1 block, but it's so nice. And it does get me outside of the box because that floral suit, if I would have seen it just like online, I probably would have never been like, oh, that's it. You know what I mean? But
No,
then
it looks so good on you. And I don't think you didn't wear a shirt under it, did you?
no, just straight,
Yeah,
straight
it looked,
free the nips.
no, but it looked like phenomenal. You know, it sounds funny. I was like, I remember, I was like, that looks good. I was like, I need that.
Such a vibe, such a vibe. Yeah, I'll have to see if it's back in stock because I got so much positive feedback about it. But again, not something that I would have like necessarily immediately chosen, could probably because it's loud. It's like a literal white suit that is fully floral, but it was perfect. Like it was so perfect
But
for
I feel like you could wear like the pants with a chiller shirt, or you
yes.
could wear just the jacket like to a meeting. It's a
We did
great
that.
piece.
Yes. When I tried it on, we did that. We tried on like jeans with
Mhm.
a bodysuit and just the jacket. And then we tried on like the pants with, I don't remember, like a pink or orange top for something more spring, maybe like bridal shower, brunch, or something like that. That's like a fun pop of color, but not necessarily wanting like a full suit vibe. So that has been a game changer for sure. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. The outfits is like just always something fun, whether it's a dress up or dress down, just like trying something new that maybe you wouldn't otherwise do.
Yeah. So definitely outfits, food. The one thing, so I don't drink, and when they just do like full open bar, and
Mhm.
it was funny at Milton Wild Life too. Barbara's like, we have mocktails, and I was like, I'm not gonna go up to the bar and get a mocktail. It's out of my like wheelhouse of comfort. So I did go inside and I got like a Diet Coke. So sometimes that's my only thing is when the whole event focus is like the alcohol. I'm like, oh, it's time to go. But that's a me problem.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. We did. So this last year at the conference, we did no alcohol during the day. The VIP night that we do on Friday night, we did have like a bar, like we had like wine, but then we specifically had signature mocktails and it was only like 50 people at the VIP night. So definitely smaller, more intimate, but like that was built into the menu was like very, very intentionally, but that only came from me serving people and finding out, especially now, like I feel like now in 2025, so many people are not drinking anymore that it's like, I'm also not trying to pay up front for a bunch of alcohol that people aren't going to drink.
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest, I don't want to be responsible for somebody coming and getting hammered and then me trying to figure out how to get them home, correctly, even though we did have day 2 of the event the next day. So it was really cool to like just find out from people, keep the vibe. What do people like? Are people drinking? They're not drinking,
Yeah.
whatever. And have a really intentionally designed offer where it's we see you and we want to serve. And so this is what's available. And people were very, very appreciative of that.
Yeah, I love that. It's just where I'm at. It's hard to be like, if the event is focused on like alcohol, I'm like, oh, gotta bounce.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I get to come to one of your next events. Where can people find you online? I feel like we could just chat forever. I'm like, I didn't even get to my list of questions. I'm looking at it off to the side.
Yeah, yeah. So the best way to probably connect with me is through Instagram. So over on Instagram, my handle is the Haley, just the simplest way you can spell Haley, Haley, and then Westfall, west like the direction, fall down. Just try to make it easy for everybody. All of my links are there in my bio for my website. All of my events are there. There is a separate account for the table. It's thetable.az, but that's linked in my bio as well. But yeah, I think my big thing is just empowering people to have a different perspective on events, looking at them as a tool. I think a lot of times people either look at them as an obligation or they're like, honestly, it's just like fun, but they're not actually doing anything with it. And so I talk about that through my socials and through the podcast. And I actually created a resource, which I'll send you a link and I'll give you guys a discount code for your listeners. But I created a resource called Ready for the Room. So it's a digital masterclass. It's a 5-step framework for maximizing in-person events. It's very tactical. You can do the whole thing in less than an hour. And I can assure you 97% of people that are attending live events do not have a dialed strategy to be present, but also be intentional about how you're spending your time, money, and energy. So we go through everything from vetting and figuring out if the room is even right for you in the first place, to once you say yes, what do you do between then and when the event takes place? What do you do while you're there? What do you do immediately after? What do you do in the weeks to months to come? Very strategic and just like very realistic to be able to implement into your event strategy. And so I'll give you guys a link for that as well as a discount code if you want to check it out. But it's called Ready for the Room. It's so great. And we can do better. We can do better as business owners. Just because it's a write-off doesn't mean we should be lighting money on fire. So if you're going to be going to these places, do it intentionally.
Okay, real quick. I love that. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
What is your best tip for going to events and walking away? Just like one quick hit.
Yeah. So the biggest mistake I see people make is the room not being right for them in the first place. So the biggest mistake people make is not doing enough research on the front end. And then they wind up disappointed because their expectations and experience don't align, or it was just like never the right fit for them. The biggest implementable tool as far as while you are in the room is less is more. So being really intentional, being present where your feet are, stay off your freaking phone for the love of all. Stay off your phone, be present, be engaged with people, give yourself permission if the conversation does not feel aligned to step away. That's okay. You can do it in a kind and gracious way. But really focusing on, if I only make 3 solid connections while I'm here, how can I challenge myself to do that? And what do those look and feel like so that you can acknowledge when that is happening and you can also acknowledge when it isn't. So being present, less is more, but also make sure it's the right room for you in the first place.
Oh, that's a good one. I also put in the work. So I take screenshots of everyone I meet. It depends on the event. Some events are more like, I would say we're all on Instagram. They're like, what's your handle? It's like more like the girls
Yeah.
of events. And those ones, like I'll screenshot and I'll put them in a note. And then I go back, I message everyone.
Yeah, I do that too. I have a whole system in Notion that I do it in, but I do screenshots and put them in an album for titled the event so that they're all there and I can go back to them. Another similar tool that you can do that my friend Ati talked to attendees. She did a workshop at my conference this past February. And she said what she does is she goes to their Instagram and she just saves their last post into an album because
you know what? I met her. Did she go to Powerhouse Women? But she went to that event that was right before. It wasn't yours because a lot of people were leaving it to go to yours. Yeah. She was going to your event and she was showing me that.
Yeah. So she saves their post because if I'm going to screenshot their Instagram, I may as well just save the Instagram and then I'm already in the app.
Yeah.
So she does that and just saves a post and then works it that way. But yes, follow up is key, but just make sure that like they're conversations that are worth following up on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Okay. I love that. Thank you. And we will have you linked up in our show notes. And thank you so much for your time and all the fun. I love talking about running too. It was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And hopefully you'll make it over to Utah, or there's already like a lineup of events I plan on going to next year in Arizona. So I'll see you there.
Okay. See you soon.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Samantha Parker Show. I wanted to let you know that you can head over to Substack and you can subscribe to Sam's Sober Club. I've got a lot of really amazing episodes over there, like my 30-day sober journal and some subscriber-only content. I also blog about your first 30 days being sober, your first day sober, your first year sober. I am sharing it all over on my Substack. So come join Sam's Sober Club. We've got it linked up in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here on the podcast.